Hi, everybody. So I'm back again with another episode. This is episode 3. My first episode talked about my first disappointment, and my second episode talked about my childhood or my experience with my older sibling, which she was really my guardian or parent when my mother wasn't around. So this particular episode today is talking about my mother. And this one is a really tough one for me because she's the only person on this planet that I don't feel like I can ever forgive. And that's a hard thing to say because I know that I need to forgive her at some point. It's just hard, and I'm just being real. Everybody, people say you have to forgive and you have to, move on with your life. It's really hard to do that when the person you're trying to forgive disappoints you or uh, does something negative to you over and over and over and over again until you just say, I've had enough, and I don't want to be around you anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And that's where I'm at with her. And I'm okay with it because she is the most manipulative, controlling, judgmental, trifling person that I know. She is the worst human being that I know. And I know some pretty bad people. When I was a child, so this is one little story that I have about my mother, and this was when I was a kid. And remember, I said that I was bullied a lot. As a child, I was bullied. As a preteen, I was bullied. Well, as a child, I started to develop self-hatred for myself because I just didn't see the beauty in myself. Why? Because my mother favored she showed favoritism to her oldest child and her youngest child, leaving me and my other sister to feel like the black sheep of the family. And I can't speak for my other sisters, and I can't speak for anyone else, but I felt like the black sheep of the family. I looked different, more different than anybody else. I remember we would be sitting around the dinner table, and my mom used to say, she used to have this story of, well, you used to ride the short yellow bus, and my sisters would laugh at that, and I didn't think that was funny. I don't see the humor in something like that, but she thought it was funny to the point where she would say it, and she said it enough that I remember it. Now, was that the case? I don't remember. I cannot remember a lot of things from my childhood, which I think is sad. When my kids, I tell my kids a lot of stories, and I can't recall a lot of my childhood stories. I don't even have childhood pictures that I can show them. I can't remember most of those things. The only thing that I remember is I peed in the bed till I was 7. I remember, and I think that's there's a huge correlation between that and the abuse that I endured when I was a kid. But I peed in the bed till I was 7, and I got beaten a lot. Anything that you can think of, I got beat. I got beat with a shoe, a brush, a broomstick, a mop stick, a curtain blind. I don't know if anyone remembers those metal curtain rods that you had to connect together before you actually weaved the curtains through. But my mom used to beat us with that, and I actually remember her cutting my sister on her neck with that one time. I can recall my mom chasing my little sister with a knife. because of something. And those are not my stories to tell, but I'm just giving you some background as to the type of person that my mother was. Was she, just a mommy dearest? No. But I can't remember good times. I'm sure that they were had, Christmases and birthdays and things like that. I'm pretty sure that they were a good time. But see, the problem is that when you have negativity is always going to overpower the positive. So what am I saying? Negative experiences are always going to overpower your positive experiences, because negative experiences is what sticks with you, right? It's kind of like verbal abuse. It's like if it's done, several times, you start to believe that. So we got beat a lot, for everything, anything you can think of. I got beaten for. Just being a kid, not doing your chores or not doing it to what her standards were. I got beat for that. Eating something that was hers, my mom's, she would beat us for that. Just typical kid behavior. I can't really say that all of my beatings were warranted or that she should have done them. Should we have gotten punished? Yes, of course. I believe we should have gotten punished. But do I believe we should have gotten punished to the extent? No, I don't. I don't beat my kids. I mean, it's something that I did in the beginning when early on when I was a mother, but I don't do that now. And I feel like my children are better people because I don't. Because what does whooping your children really do? It's showing your children that when I get upset, it's okay to cause bodily harm to someone else. So now we have all of these people out here causing bodily harm to others because they think it's okay. Why do they think it's okay? Because it was done to them. I remember a day where I had a homework assignment, and the homework assignment, was like, the question was, what color are your eyes? And I said my eyes were blue. And my mom cussed me out for that. She was like, why you put that, that your eyes are not blue? And see, that's just one instance of how she reacted to a lot of things. She would come home from work and she would be mad about something. I don't know what she would be mad about, but she would always take it out on us. Here's my thing. Adults should not take their anger out on their children. And you should never punish or discipline your children when you're angry. I don't punish or discipline my children when I'm angry at all, because the situation will get a whole lot worse than what it could have been. So instead of you trying to teach your child a lesson, you just teaching them, I'm mad at you, and I want you to know that I'm mad at you. So I'm going to hurt you so that you understand that I'm mad at you. That doesn't do anything but makes the child suffer, and I have suffered. I remember, going back to the time where I just couldn't take it anymore, and I had to tell her how I felt about her showing favoritism to my sisters. And I touched on this a little bit in another video, but there was a time where she would take my older sister wherever she wanted, not wherever she wanted, but if my mom was going somewhere, she would just take her. When it came to my sister's prom, she got her dress made by this designer on South Street, and she bought everything for her. And when my prom came up, my sister and my brother-in-law wound up paying for my dress. My grandmother paid, and that's a whole nother story. Okay, I don't even call her my grandmother, but at the time she bought my shoes. And I think my mom paid for my hair or somebody else paid for my hair. I can't really remember. I'm not even going to take that away from my mom and say she didn't do that. But it just wasn't the same. It was not, the treatment wasn't the same at all. it was just a lot. It was a lot, and then on top of that, we went to church every Sunday. So here you have this person going to church every Sunday. They a deaconess at the church, but then when they go home, they treat their kids like crap, and they talk to them however they're gonna talk to them, and judge them, and beat them for whatever, and talk to them however they're gonna talk to them, verbally abuse them, and be judgmental of them. It was just the worst experience as a child. And I remember going to school and telling the librarian I want her to adopt me because I did not want to live with my mother anymore. I could not stand her. I just couldn't. She was just terrible. Just terrible. I don't even know how to describe it. All I can say is that as an adult, I have trouble with intimacy. I have trouble with love. I have accepting it and giving it. I have trouble with trusting people and feeling secure. I did not feel that as a child. As a child, that's what you're supposed to feel like your mom and your dad is going to be there for you. I did not feel that. I'm not saying that my mom never showed up for me or didn't show up to, like the performances that I had. Actually, she didn't. I don't remember her coming to any of my performances. I was in a lot of multicultural events and things like that at school when I was in elementary school. I don't remember her coming to any of those things. But when I was on honor roll, she showed up for that. So I can't, say too much about it. But like I said, when you have terrible experiences, it kind of outwashes the good experiences. I cannot sit here and tell you one time that I felt love from my mother or I felt happy or any of that. I can't tell anyone that because I don't have it. It's not there. And even if it was there at some point, I'm going to tell you about the day that it just went out the door for me. So there was a day where I tried to tell my mother how I felt. So I went in her room and I told her, I said, you show more attention to my older sister. You love her better than you love me. Something to that effect. And her answer to me was, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I will never forget that day because that was the day that the rest of the love that I had for that woman just disappeared for me. It was it. Because how dare you? It took everything out of me to say that. It's hard for a child to advocate for herself when no one else is advocating for her. Like I said, I'm getting whoopings from my mother. I'm getting whoopings from my dad. I didn't have any support from her at all. She let that man whoop us to no end. Okay? It was like she was okay with it. And of course she was okay with it because she did the same thing. And she even took out her anger out on us. And I don't know. Listen, don't have kids if you going to blame them for having them. Don't have them. Have kids when you are indefinitely ready. You don't have to be financially ready. I mean, that would be preferable, right? But what I'm saying is emotionally. As long as you're emotionally mature enough to handle a child, have 1,000,000 of them. And you can take care of them, of course. Now, I'm not saying that my mom, didn't take care of us. She did. She did the best she could, I'm sure. But that was only the financial part of it. She didn't get that you just can't be financially supportive of your child and then forget everything else. She didn't show us love. She didn't tell us she loved us. And even if she did, I don't remember and I don't believe it. You can tell somebody you love them over and over and over again, but they'll never believe it until they feel it and they see it, right? I didn't feel it and I didn't see it from that woman, so I don't believe she loves me. I believe she loves me because I'm her child. But it's more than that. I can't explain it, but the love I have for my children, Oh my, I feel, oh God, it's just like it radiates off of me. And anybody that knows me, they know that. They'll be able to tell you that I love my baby so much. I'm not perfect. I still get things wrong from time to time, but I have no problem with owning up to that and apologizing to them, and helping them to understand where I'm coming from. And I think that they when I do that, they understand. Mommy always loves me. She understands us. She's there for us. I am there for my babies. I love them so much. And it's not just because they are an extension of me. It's because I love them as human beings. They are just beautiful people. They're amazing, and I am blessed to have them. I wouldn't be who I am without them. I just, oh God, I can't explain how, but you see how I explain it. Now, if you was to go talk to that woman and have her talk to you about her children, you would see the difference. You can tell the difference in the type of love that people give, and then from, you can just tell, right? And I don't want to hear, oh, well, she didn't know because she didn't get the love that she had, because I didn't. But I know how to do what I'm supposed to do for my children. So she was responsible for figuring out how to properly raise us, because if she wasn't going to do that, then she shouldn't have had kids. That's just the bottom line. And then there's the talk of my father not being my father. And every time that particular situation pops up, or somebody wants to talk about that, she want to change the subject. She don't want to say anything about it. It's rumors going around that the man that everybody say is my father is really not my father. I don't know. All I know, the only thing that I can remember is that there was a man who was coming around the house, and at some point he was sending Muslim coverings for girls. I think they call them kimars. I'm not really sure, and I don't want to offend the Islamic culture, but whatever those head coverings were, he was sending them to the house for me. People not gonna do that unless they really believe that that's their child. And I have little inklings that I'm not my father's child, because I look very much different than the others. Everyone else is like chocolate brown. I'm like light, a little bit lighter than they are. I'm just different all around. I feel different. Even when I'm around everyone, I always felt different. I never felt like I belonged there. I never felt like I belonged with that family. I really didn't. Because I just didn't. I didn't feel like I belonged. And not just because of that little, because of the rumor that was going around. It was just I didn't feel that way because of everything that was happening. I just didn't. So, that day of her telling me that, stop feeling sorry for yourself, the little bit of love I had left for her was gone. So every time that she touched me after that, I felt cold, or I felt numb. I didn't feel anything for her. I don't feel anything for her. I don't feel love, and I don't feel hate. I don't feel nothing. It's like she's nothing to me, and I am okay with that, because she's not a good person to be around. And the bad part about it is that she, when we used to go to church and things like that, she would have, people so fooled into thinking that she was like this perfect mother. She really did. Nobody knew that we was going home and being beat all the time, and I'm not gonna say all the time like it was all day every day, but it was enough where that's what I remember from my childhood. Beatings, broken promises, and not from her, more so about the man that I believe is my father. I don't know, but the man that I was led to believe is my father.